Hello everyone, our group has chosen China as the topic of this speech. Our group members are Yinghan Hu, Haopen Zhang, Chi Zhang, Yinglang Li, and Jiahu Ying. First of all, we would like to introduce the challenges and opportunities of China's political economy for Australian enterprise.
Hello everyone, today I'm very proud to present my research of China, which is one of the most dynamic and influential countries in the global economy. Being a member of the Australian National Department of Young Scholar Researchers, we will tackle with analyzing how globalization has impacted the political economy of China, and the challenges that legal themes might present to the firms of Australia that are looking for expansion in the vast market. This presentation offers insights into the key areas that help Australian business in navigation of complexities entering the Chinese market. Let's start by understanding how globalization has changed the political economy of China. Over the past few decades, China has changed from a centrally planted economy to a multi-ocean one. Globalization has been the driving force behind the change, permitting China to get interest into the global economy using investments, trade, and also the chain exchange of technology. Presently, China is the second largest economy in the world, which is impacted heavily by the global market dynamic. The Chinese government has applied economic reforms that had opened up the country to foreign investment, resulting in rapid urbanization and industrialization. Such transforms had been accomplished through major changes in the political economy of China, which includes a role for private enterprise and the enhanced international trade. However, despite such advancement, the political economy of China still controlled solely by the Communist Party. The state plays a major role in influencing strategic sectors, and the central government exercises stronger oversight of regulation. Such duties were in market force opposites with start culture and the trend to aid a unicorn environment of business which foreign companies that perceive Australian firms should navigate carefully. Let's start by understanding how globalization has changed the political economy of China. Over the past few decades, China has changed from a centrally planted economy to a multi-ocean one. Globalization has been the driving force behind the change, permitting China to get interest into the global economy using investments, trade, and also the chain exchange of technology. Presently, China is the second largest economy in the world, which is impacted heavily by the global market dynamic. The Chinese government has applied economic reforms that had opened up the country to foreign investment, resulting in rapid urbanization and industrialization. Such transforms had been accomplished through major changes in the political economy of China, which includes a role for private enterprise and the enhanced international trade. However, despite such advancement, the political economy of China still controlled solely by the Communist Party. The state plays a major role in influencing strategic sectors, and the central government exercises stronger oversight of regulation. Such duties were in market force opposites with start culture and the trend to aid a unicorn environment of business which foreign companies that perceive Australian firms should navigate carefully. One of the major challenges for Australian firms entering China is the navigation of the legal system. The legal framework of China is distinct through the common law systems applied in Australia, with various approaches towards privacy right, resolution of disputes, and also regulatory complaints. For instance, intellectual property protection acted as a concern for various foreign companies operating in China. While the government of China has made major efforts in strengthening the IP laws, the enforcement remains inconsistent and companies might face issues in the protection of their innovation and brands. In conclusion, while globalization has brought various opportunities to the political economy of China, it even presented unique challenges mainly in legal domains. Australian firms should approach the Chinese market of China with well-informed strategies to take into account the complexities of the legal systems and influence state control. It is recommended that Australian companies should invest in market research, build strong local partnership, and look for legal counseling to navigate the regulatory environment.
Economic development and human development are two big topics that are closely interconnected in business. The concept of human development is about enabling people to live healthier, wealthier, more fulfilling lives with higher levels of education. Economic development including various aspects such as GDP, change in industrial structure, per capita income, investment in infrastructure, and trade growth. Chinese economic growth has been rapid over the past 2 decades, making it the world's second largest economy, with technology in all sectors of the industry. China has transformed from an agriculture-based society to an economy driven by the industry and services. In recent years, high-tech and advanced manufacturing industries like Huawei and BYD has risen. After joining the WTO, Chinese manufacturing sector grows rapidly, and the large-scale infrastructure development in the past 20 years created many jobs. However, there are significant economic differences between the western and the eastern region of China. For example, the economic development in Yangtze River Delta is much higher than in provinces like Ningxia, Gansu, and Qinghai. In this situation, there is also a clear gap in human development levels. To address this, China introduced measures such as achieving a moderately society, full modernization, and 12 years of the compulsory education. At the same time, extensive infrastructure was built. As a result, Chinese HDI has increased significantly, mainly due to the improvements in education and healthcare. However, there is a still gap compared to the developed country. Education and healthcare in remote rural areas remain limited. Therefore, China implemented a series of the poverty alleviation policies, established the special funds, and had the more developed eastern region support poor western provinces. Over 8 years, a total of the 1.6 trillion yuan was invested, along with significant infrastructure, education, and healthcare support in rural and remote areas. By 2021, China had helped lift 100 million people out of the absolute poverty, which is a significant achievement in human development. Australia's company can choose to establish their business in the Yangtze River Delta, one of China's most attractive areas for the foreign direct investment. Half of the China's foreign investment is in this region. The advantage comes from the strong economic growth, a high level of the openness to international trade, and increased the innovation capabilities. In industrial clustering effect can help the Australian companies gain enough market share and development opportunities. Additionally, the infrastructure and marketing maturity in the Yangtze River Delta are the highest in China. Furthermore, human development levels will determine whether Australian companies can find the highly skilled and qualified employees. As one of the most developed regions, the education level here is much higher than in other areas. If Australian companies focus on high-tech or service industries, they won't need to invest in employee or technical training. The highest education levels helps companies quickly find the talent in specialized fields. Overall, both the human development and the economic development are important for the Australian companies investing in China, making the eastern region the best choice.
Now, let us discuss the cultural distance between China and Australia. Culture is described, and the background is developed. We have found culture to vary from different nations as per beliefs and the way of life of the people in these countries. Our study will explore China and Australia. China is an Asian country that has adopted its specific and unique culture and has continued to share this and embrace it with generations as they come in. Australia is a country in Oceania that has its own unique culture as well. There is a level to which the norms of different countries and the adopted culture are shared and differ from the two countries. Based on different cultural distance dimensions, the measure of the degree of variation that is the contrast of cultural aspects between two countries is made possible. Next, we are going to differentiate culture and related to cultural distance. There are various differences in the cultures presented by China and Australia. Cultural distance can be measured by the differences in culture. Using Hofstede's cultural dimension theory, the 5 dimensions are analyzed to see the different viewpoints. These dimensions are power distance, individualism vs collectivism, long-term vs short-term orientation, masculinity vs femininity, indulgence vs restraint, and uncertainty avoidance. Another theoretical conceptualization is formulated by the cultural convergence or divergence of the two countries, which is analyzed to display the formed link in the similarity and the differences of the cultural forms of the two countries. This table shows an analytical presentation of findings in the hospital model used to differentiate culture in China and Australia, also give insights into the level of cultural distance between the two countries. The following dimensions on the first column will be used in the models analyzed to compare the cultural aspects of China and Australia. The dimensions brought out the following summarized analysis of the two countries. For Australia, the power distance shows less organized for ordinarity as it represents an egalitarian culture, where hierarchy is not deemed vital. For the second row, individualistic people focus on their success. There is value in autonomy. And then, the short-term achievements and success are considered. For next, the similar score for masculinity. For next row, people can express their desires, hence high levels of indulgence. The last point is Australians take risk in the unknown, hence high levels of uncertainty avoidance. For China, China has a hierarchical society. There is a respect for orderly and an emphasis on defined order. In collectivism, there is engagement and collaboration for group as it promotes unity. And then there is presetting of long-term goals as the country envisions its future. Same with Australia, there is a similar score for masculinity. Compared to Australia, China has strict social norms, hence less gratification of desires freely. Last of all, there are structural systems in China, while others are adaptable to change. In this slide, cultural convergence and divergence are explained. The theory conceptualization of cultural convergence and divergence also critically matches the levels of cultural distance. Increased interaction between the two countries over the years has been realized through globalization in the current world. Technological development have made it simpler for sharing experiences. And norms from cross-cultural grounds, the two countries are both digitally active, which from this perspective reduces the cultural distance. The two countries relate differently on official foreign platforms for different reasons, such as business purpose. This display through sharing norms and experiences is cultural convergence. However, cultural divergence is seen from the protection and preservation of deeply rooted cultures, and emphasis is on the unique cultures presented. China has sentiments that point out national sentimental value, while Australia is dominated by multiculturalism and distinct social norms. In general, there is a need for order in task execution. The study is concluded as the analysts show that these cultures in China and Australia are different, but display levels of convergence with time and adaptability.
I will be presenting on China's industrial specialization in international trade. Specifically, we will explore two prominent trade areas: Adam Smith's absolute advantage and David Ricardo's comparative advantage, and how they apply to China's economic landscape. Here is the 5 parts for my presentation. To start, the key question we are addressing today is, which industries should China specialize in when trading with other countries? We will be examining this through the lens of two economic theories, Adam Smith's absolute advantage and David Ricardo's comparative advantage. These theories provide different approaches to international trade, and I will be analyzing which one fits China's current situation better. Adam Smith's absolute advantage. Adam Smith's absolute advantage theory suggests that countries should specialize in industries where they can produce goods more effectively than their competitors. This means that China should focus on sectors where it can produce goods at the lower cost. One clear example of this is China's strength in electronics and manufacturing. Over the years, China has become the global leader in these industries due to its efficiency, cost-effective labor, and scalability. As discussed by Brown and Foster, Smith's broader economic insights align with China's industrial advantages in these sectors. David Ricardo's comparative advantage. Now, let's consider David Ricardo's comparative advantage theory. Unlike Smith, Ricardo argues that countries should focus on industry where their opportunity costs are the lowest, even if the other countries are better at producing those goods. In China's case, this means prioritizing sectors like telecommunications, renewable energy, and technology. According to a 2020 study from Tent for Online, China has developed a comparative advantage in these emerging fields, making it more competitive in the global market, especially in areas like 5G technology and solar energy. Industry specialization for China. Both Smith and Ricardo offer valuable perspectives on which industry China should focus on. From Smith's point of view, China should continue to build on its existing strengths like electronics and manufacturing, which allow it to maintain efficiency and scalability. On the other hand, Ricardo's approach encourages China to diversify and invest in newer sectors such as renewable energy and telecommunications, where it can gain a long-term advantage by optimizing opportunity costs. After analyzing both theories, I believe that David Ricardo's comparative advantage theory is most suitable for China's current economic, while Smith's absolute advantage explains China's success in traditional industries. Ricardo's theory offers a forward-looking strategy. By focusing on industry where China has the lowest opportunity costs, the country can better position itself in global trade while balancing its existing strengths and emerging industries. To wrap up, China should leverage Rector's comparative advantage theory while determining its industry specialization in international trade. This approach will allow the country to remain competitive in both traditional sectors like electronics and new growth areas such as renewable energy and telecommunications. Thank you for watching.
Today I'll be presenting the trade policy instrument that Chinese government uses and analyze the incentives of these policies. China imposed anti-dumping duties on Australian barley and wine, claiming these products were sold at unfairly low prices, harming domestic producers. It also uses SPS measures to enforce strict health standards, which act as non-tariff barriers to Australian imports like meat and dairy. Additionally, tariff rate quotas on wheat, corn, and sugar limit imports at low tariffs, which higher tariffs imposed on quantity exceeding the quota. These trade policies reflect mercantilism, which focuses on protecting domestic industries by minimizing imports and accumulating wealth. The anti-dumping duties serve to safeguard Chinese producers from being undercut by cheaper Australian goods, a typical mercantilist strategy aimed at reducing foreign imports and protecting local markets. Similarly, SPS measures, although framed as consumer protection, often act as barriers to foreign competition, limiting agricultural imports and fostering the growth of domestic industries. And an approach aligned with neo-mercantilism, the TRQs limit foreign imports to protect local agriculture, promoting self-sufficiency. Moving to next slide, China's digital and data regulation restrict the entry of foreign digital services and data, posing challenges for Australian tech companies. Additionally, China provides subsidies to high-tech sectors such as electric vehicle and solar technology, which help domestic firms lower production costs and scale up to dominate global markets. These policies exemplify new trade theory, which argues that government intervention is crucial in helping firms achieve economies of scale and gain a competitive edge in the global market. China's digital and data regulation protect domestic digital firms from foreign competition, creating a protected market that allow local companies to grow without the presence of external competition. These protection fosters the development of economies of scale, a central principle of new trade theory, enabling Chinese firms to build a competitive advantage. Similarly, China's subsidies for high-tech sector like EVs and solar energy promote rapid scaling and encourage investment in innovation. These subsidies lower production costs, enable domestic firms to compete effectively in global markets. As Smith discusses, government support combined with export can lead to knowledge spillovers and innovation, which China achieves by supporting its high-tech export. This intervention is key to create innovative and globally competitive industries, which can dominate markets through scale and technological advancement. Moving to next slide. China has reduced tariffs on high-quality Australian agricultural products, such as premium dairy and fruit, enhancing market access for Australian exporters. It has also signed long-term contracts with Australian firms to secure mineral and energy resources such as iron and coal, providing stable access to essential raw materials for China's manufacturing sector. The principle of comparative advantage explains how countries focus on producing goods where they have a lower opportunity cost. China's tariff reduction acknowledge Australia's comparative advantage in premium food production, allowing Australia to export these goods, while China focuses on industry where it excels, such as manufacturing and technology. Additionally, The long-term contract for importing mineral and energy from Australia reflects China's reliance on Australia's comparative advantage in resource extraction. These allow China to leverage these materials to fuel its manufacturing sector, where it has its own advantage in producing value-added products like electronics and steel, as Kurovo Kazura, Law, Ramamurti, and Note, focusing on comparative advantage, strengthen global trade relationship as demonstrated by mutually beneficial trade between China and Australia.